All right, ladies and gentlemen, there was a story that happened like yesterday or maybe the day before yesterday that I didn't get to cover. And that story had to do with Avowed's Steam Community Hub apparently getting taken down. Now, the reason I didn't get to cover is number one, super busy, obviously, with the whole Goonergate stuff and whatnot. But number two, I also looked at the story and I didn't quite believe that it was being taken down with any sort of like longevity. I felt like this might have been some sort of an error, or perhaps there was an issue, behind the scenes, not really sure. But I saw the story running rampant online. I was going to get to it eventually, like I am today. And now that I've gotten to it, apparently the Steam community, like I thought, has already come back after its brief removal. And people are not only trying to come up with ideas, or conspiracies as to why it got taken down in the first place, but journalists like this over at The Gamer are trying to use this as a means to talk about hate speech and weird stuff on Steam. I really have no idea. Never let a good tragedy go to waste, ladies and gentlemen, because these journalists damn sure don't. They took this opportunity that happened with Avowed, a video game that obviously has a lot of controversy around it, and they are trying to utilize this as a means to talk about hate speech and all of the hatred that Avowed is getting, and it's unjustified, blah, blah, whatever. This is what they're trying to do with this particular story, and I figure, hell, let's talk about all of it at once. So let's get into this article, guys, from The Gamer, but of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says Avowed Steam Community Hub is back online after a brief removal. Avowed Steam Community Hub is available to users once more. Many noticed that it had been taken down yesterday alongside other changes made to the Steam page, which led to fears of delay. It was also suspected that it was taken down due to many toxic and abusive comments being made by users, something that has returned now that the page is online. Now, one thing I also didn't mention earlier in the video is apparently people were spreading around that the game was going to be delayed. Again, I'm not sure. I didn't hear anything from the official source from Avowed. And actually, I looked on Twitter today, which made me remember to cover this story. I looked on Twitter, and on their main page, they said the game is on track for delivery. Whether that's true or not, we're going to see. But as of right now, the official source says that it's on track for delivery on the proper date. So Avowed's Community Hub page on Steam is back after it was found to be taken offline yesterday. This, combined with some other oddities with the game on Steam, has led some to believe that Avowed was going to be hit with another delay, something Obsidian seems eager to disprove. Now, I don't know how taking down the Steam forums would make people think that the game is delayed. I feel like the game would be much more in trouble than just being delayed. If they're deleting their entire Steam forum, just seems odd to me, number one. Number two, these people hire moderators, right? They have moderators that are active over on Steam. So I really don't believe that they would take down the Steam page for some hatred, because all these games get hatred. Even some of the most loved games has some criticism in there. So I don't understand why they would take down the Steam page simply for hatred. And if they did, that would be something that would be very weak. And people will look at this company like, wow, this is what you're doing? Interesting. So it says, alongside the Community Hub suddenly being open to user posts again, Obsidian tweets that Avowed is now 1 month away from launching, reaffirming its release date of February 18th. This is despite some reporting that Avowed had disappeared from their Steam libraries, making them fear that it would be pushed back once more. Okay, so good. So they showcase a tweet. This is the tweet that I was talking about that reminded me to cover this story. Avowed is officially 1 month out from launch, and they showcase obviously the clip, the little, motion capture picture, whatever. The fears of delay also stem from the fact that changes made to the Avowed page removed mention of early access kicking off on February 13th as seen on SteamDB. However, this appears to have been reversed. Now, this right here had me very curious. When I heard that they removed this from the Steam page, I was wondering to myself, oh, interesting. That would mean a delay, right? That would actually mean that there's a delay if they took away the February 13th early access, because there's no way in hell that Xbox is not going to sell early access, obviously, right? There's no way. So at this point, if they removed it, that means they're probably going to change the date for early access and actual release. But that didn't happen. They ended up reversing it, and now we're here. Then it says, outside of delay speculation, it's also been assumed that the Community Hub was taken down over toxicity. Admittingly, a Steam Community Hub being full of hate and bigotry is nothing new, but it's particularly bad on Avowed's page right now, especially since it went back online. Now, this is where the article takes a turn for the worst. When the journalist decides to take a situation that should have been a one-and-done story, and they decide to make it about themselves and hatred and bigotry and racism and all this stuff, sexism, they decide to do this, so let's get into it. This is a two-part story. It's great. This all stems from Avowed being one of the games targeted by an ongoing online hate campaign. Other targets include Dragon Age: The Veilguard, The Witcher 4, as groups online go after games over perceived forced diversity, which typically includes games that feature female protagonists and LGBTQ characters. Obsidian Games have long allowed for both, of course, but it appears to have never been more contentious, at least in certain corners of the internet. Now, guys, my God, how are we still in 2025 and these gaming journalists are still using the same talking points that not only have been debunked, number one, but number two, have led to the downfall of gaming journalism? Do they not understand that they're becoming less and less and less as time goes on? There is less than 30 of them available in the mainstream industry now, down from God knows how many, not even just a couple of years ago. I don't understand why you would continue to try to push this narrative. Oh, people are just angry. People are just wanting to be angry. It's an online hate campaign. One day we're an organized campaign. The other day we're semi-organized. The next day we're not organized at all. That they can't get their story together because it's all BS. That's really what it is. They know it's not a targeted harassment campaign. They just know that it's people who are upset over forced ideologies in video games. Nobody has any issue with actual genuine, diversity or whatever that comes naturally. Well, let me not say nobody, because the Puritans out there have definitely shown themselves as a censorious Puritans, but that's besides the point. Most people have no issues with diversity that is natural because that has been the way for the longest time. Anybody who's been a gamer for more than a year obviously knows that the gaming industry has always been very diverse, not even just in the video games itself, but the actual developers. Look back at some of the oldest videos of development teams. You're going to see all kinds of people working on video games, but they don't want you to know that. These journalists, they don't want you to actually know about those older teams and how diverse they actually were, because they were putting out great products and they were still diverse even without the bullshit virtue signal. Now you have people that are trying to continue to push this crazy narrative about forced diversity and all this other nonsense. Listen, at the end of the day, people just want good games. If the character ends up being gay naturally, then most people are not going to have an issue with it if the story is great. I'm looking at you, Final Fantasy 16, Dion. I'm looking at you, right? Like, I don't understand how they are continuing to push this narrative. But listen, at the end of the day, you're going to have the journalists push this because this is their bread and butter, right? This is what they're used to. This is what used to make them money. So they're hoping that it continues to do so. They're hoping that it continues to work for them. But it hasn't worked for them in well over a year. And they're going into 2025 hoping that it's the same exact thing. And it's just going to continue to get worse. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.